Hello guys, welcome back to another video. 10 habits that make you weak. Number 1, watching pornography and masturbating. If you're doing this all the time, frequently, even if you're doing like it 2 times a week or more, or even once a week, and it's become a habit where in order for you to relax or release stress, right before you go to bed, you start putting up those dirty videos, you start pulling down your pants, and you start beating yourself. And it's become a habit. This makes you so weak because you have no self-control of your desires, your sexual urges. And once you release, you feel all those nutrients that you have in your body have been depleted. A lot of it has been depleted. You feel tired. The next day, you feel like shit because all those nutrients have been taken out of you. And not only that, you have succumbed yourself to being manipulated by dirty videos. So you've been controlled by something. And being controlled by something means you're also weak, right? Because you have no sense of self-control. And I've suffered from this problem for many years. I still do now with this type of addiction. And I realize that it does make you weak. Every time that I do it, I saw like compared to when I was a kid, you could do it 5, 6 times in a row and nothing would be fine. Everything would be fine. Sorry, 5, 6 times per day, beating your meat and you'd be fine. But now when you get older and it's still a habit, it's become solidified as a habit and it's a terrible one. That every time you do it, you feel like complete shit. You feel so weak. You feel like your energy has been drained out of you. You just feel so bad, and this makes you weak. So this is a very, very, very terrible habit that we all need to get rid of. And even going back to not even watching porn, if you're just masturbating, it's the same thing. You are succumbing yourself to your imagination, to your sexual, desires and all that, and you have no sense of self-control. And obviously, when you have this addiction, it can lead to other addictions as well. You may have a food addiction eventually. You may want to eat a lot. You may have a video game addiction because you're constantly seeking that dopamine. You may have greater threshold. You may watch worse categories of pornography because it doesn't give you that same rush anymore that you used to for that particular category. So it's very terrible, and it's something that we need to try to constantly work hard to get rid of in order to be strong. Number 2, checking your social media frequently. If you have the apps on your phone, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever, you are more in you there's a higher greater chance you're going to keep checking those accounts, you check those notifications, and it's going to become an addiction where you become weak too because your energy is being depleted, and we all have a limited amount of energy that we can give out to the world. But when we're constantly looking at our phone, putting it down, looking at our phone, putting it down, looking at our phone, checking the notifications, putting it down, putting it down, blah 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 blah, we feel so mentally drained. We feel so weak. And as I said in the first point about pornography and masturbating, you become a slave. You become a slave to the system. You lose your own sense of self-control, and that is the worst thing you could do to yourself. To give away your freedom for something so minuscule, yet it is like a virus, you know. So we need to also control that, our social media consumption, right? Delete those apps. The only way you have access is if you actually go on a computer. That's probably the best bet. And honestly, it'll make you mentally stronger. It'll make you more focused and have better clarity. Number 3, comparing yourselves to others. A lot of us do this. I feel like, especially a lot of women do this too. They like to compare themselves to other women a lot. But guys do the same thing. It's the same thing. Guys also compare themselves to, if you're a bodybuilder, you compare to other guys. You see a guy and he's really big or whatever. Or you see a guy who has a beautiful girlfriend and has a nice car, and you're just driving a little freaking Toyota hybrid vehicle and you don't have a girlfriend at all. And then you start comparing yourself to this person. But I think a majority of the time when we compare ourselves to others, it's not in like a very positive way. So in sports, you may compare yourself to other athletes to motivate yourself, but like real life is not sports. You know, for the average Joe, we're just living through our day to day, and we go out in public and we see these people that we compare ourselves to, and we give ourselves, like, we just start envying others. We start creating jealousy amongst other people, especially like our loved ones too. I think the majority of the time we compare ourselves to our loved ones the most, the people who are closest to us, our family members, our closest friends. You know, we compare ourselves to them. How much money they make, what type of lifestyle that they have, and then we start feeling, doubt in ourselves. We start feeling a little angry within ourselves. We're not happy, and I think it's such a bitch thing to do, to like constantly having to compare yourself in a negative way to others. But if you reduce the amount of time you compare yourself to others, or if you eliminate that, you are in control of your own life. You are in control of yourself. You are the master of your happiness. And that is a strength. That is not a weakness, right? Because when you're weak, you're giving your energy away, man. And it's the same thing with the other 2 points that I said too. When you compare yourself to others, you're giving away your energy to others. You're letting other people control you. It's the same thing with, when someone says a mean comment to you in person, or even on the internet. You may get to your head. You may start feeling affected by it, but you're only affected by it because you let it. And if you let it, you let the other person take control of your emotions and your thoughts, and that's weak, right? We need to stay strong, and it all comes down to having a self-awareness. So yeah, comparing yourself to others is weak. So number 4, belittling others the first time you meet them to make yourself feel bigger. I have met people in my lives. I have been friends with people in my life that when I introduce them to like my other friends, or when I introduce them to some other people that, you know, that are especially kind, that are especially friendly, that particular person that I knew, he would belittle them. He would start to make fun of them. He would start to crack like, like subtle jokes about them, stuff like that, to make them feel bigger. And that just comes down with to jealousy. I realized that that person I was hanging around with, he was a very jealous individual, and he was a very manipulative individual as well. That whenever he was around people who were smaller than him, right, physically, and even just like the way that they are, like their presence is not very strong. They have a very like weak presence or kind presence, and they're very graceful. He likes to belittle them. And that is a terrible thing to do, because it makes you weak, man. It makes you weak because you think that you're better than other people, and that is an insecurity. Actually, that is there's something about you that's very insecure, that you're trying to hide, and you're letting it out, and you're letting it out on other people to make yourself feel better. And that's weakness. That's weak. That's not strength. If strength is realizing that everyone around you is equal. No one is better than you. You know, no one is below you. No one is above you. Everyone is on the same level as you. Everyone is a human being and needs to be treated like a human being, with respect, with kindness, with dignity. Okay, and when you belittle others, when you bully others, that's weak. You're weak. The victims aren't weak. You're weak. Anyways, let's move on. So the fifth point is sleeping late and waking up late. If you have a habit of doing this, um, you don't have very good discipline, right? In a sense, because you're constantly sleeping late for whatever reason. You may have responsibilities that you need to do, and you may feel very tired by the end of the day, and you may not be a morning person. That's understandable, but a lot of the times we tend to sleep at different times. The main reasons why we sleep late is because we're constantly on our screens. We're constantly watching Netflix, or we're just watching videos after video after reel after reel after reel. And then we wake up really late to make up for the late night that we had. I have met people that when I ask them, how's it going, man? I'm really tired, bro. I'm really exhausted. I'm like, whoa, like, and every time it's the same answer. And you can tell on their face that they're just really tired. But when I meet people who are morning people, people who sleep on time, people who sleep early and wake up early, they just seem more energetic and happier, and they just seem like stronger individuals, right? You need your sleep. Your sleep is very important. You need to have a scheduled sleep pattern so you have the energy to keep up throughout the day, to do the tasks that you need to do, to keep your body healthy and your mind healthy. It's very important that we sleep. I get adequate rest and we sleep at fixed times. Some people can sleep for 6 hours and they'll be fine. Some people can sleep for 8 to 10 hours and then they'll be fine. But what matters is we need to reduce the time that we keep ourselves up late at night and then make up, and then we do it like we wake up late. That's not a very good thing to do. It's a very weak thing to do, and it makes your body weaker. Which moves on to my next point: eating junk food and drinking pop. If you're constantly eating junk food and drinking pop, man, you're just killing your body, man. It's making you weaker. It's not making your muscles grow. If you're a bodybuilder, or whether you're a guy or a girl, doesn't matter. If you're into lifting weights, eating burgers at McDonald's and drinking soda and like all this stuff all frequently, bro, it's not doing you any justice. Our body is a vessel. Our body should be given the most nutritious foods, single ingredient foods, and drink a lot of water in order to stay healthy and strong. Right? So if you have a habit of doing this, you need to get rid of it because it's making you weak. It's making you weaker day by day. Having a little bit of junk food is fine. Having a little bit of pop is fine. But if you're doing this as a habit, drinking and having energy drinks, it's just making you weak. Next, lack of eye contact when interacting with people. This is very important as well. A lot of the times when we talk to people, we tend to look away, but strength can also come from your gestures, and strength can also be when you're looking at someone directly in the eye. You're giving them all your attention, and you're also making them feel that you're watching their every move, which you are. And I think that's very important to have, because in this world, we think that doing that or being a little bit intimidating is a form of like disrespect, or it's like being rude, but it isn't. When you're constantly giving direct eye contact with people when you're talking to them, it shows that you're strong, and people need to feel that presence. People need to know that you're strong, because if you're weak, you can easily get manipulated. Another one. Next point: talking too much. If you're the type of person that always just lets out every bit of information, it shows that you have lack of self-control and lack of discipline. And that's a very weak thing to do, because you may slip something out of your mouth that you're not supposed to say. You may have gossip or something like that about another person, and the other person may take it offensively, or they may use it against you in the future. So you have to be careful with what you say, and just talk less. It's not that difficult to talk less. Just be more of a listener and give concise replies. That's it. Next, constantly filling in silence with music. I know so many people that do this. Like they're washing the dishes and they have to use Spotify to like fill in the silence. Or when I see people go to the gym, and there hasn't been one day where they haven't used their headphones or they panic. I was like, I'm not going to go to the gym now because my headphone batteries are dead. I can't use my headphones today. Like, or there are some people who, like, every time they go for a drive, they're constantly filling in silence with music. Like, they have to pop up the music. Bro, music is very hypnotic. Music affects your emotions depending on what type of genre you listen to. And by constantly filling in silence with music, you're not comfortable with yourself. You're not comfortable with silence. That's a sign of weakness. You need to be comfortable in silence. You need to be comfortable with being in little awkward situations once in a while, because that can make you stronger, make you a stronger individual in many ways, right? But yeah, we need to do this more. Anyways, the last and final point is, if you have a habit of constantly being available for others who don't deserve it, this is not good too. We need to be a little bit privatized. We need to make time less for people who are not really of importance. But we tend to make importance for everyone. Our bosses that call us, our coworkers that call us that may not be close to us. The only people that we should constantly be available for are our parents, or people that have been with us since the beginning, that we know that we love and that we cherish with our life, with our hearts. Other people in the background, no, no, no. They don't deserve your 24-hour presence. Thank you for watching.